Hey everyone, I'm the Lost Mario and welcome to my first ever video. What we're going to be doing is building a compound filled with metal 2x1s. In my opinion, it is one of the most frustrating things to raid. It costs a lot of sulfur for what you get out of it, especially when the loot is spread out amongst all the bases. So we'll start here. What you want to do first is find a flat area. Flat area isn't required. You could do this on a hilly area like that mountain back there. You just may have to get a little creative with the wall placements for those external walls whenever it comes time to wrap the compound. So what we'll start with here is just building the metal 2x1. And for the front door, I do like to use just a sheet metal door, and I'll kind of go through that here momentarily. For the two internal doors, we're going to be using garage doors. And the reason why I do it this way is because if someone were to raid this, to use it and just to simplify it, if they were to raid this with satchels, for instance, going through the metal wall is going to cost them 23 satchels. If they were to go door path, they're looking at 4 satchels for the front door, 9 satchels for each garage door, totaling 22 satchels. So it's pretty much even regardless of which route they decide to take. So anyways, we got the TC down. We have the sleeping bag down next to TC. You could put the sleeping bag really anywhere, usually even inside the airlock, but I just prefer it next to TC. 2 large boxes down, 1 small box. I do believe that's more than enough space to hold the loot within each individual base. You have to keep in mind we're going to be building 9 to 10 of these bases, so that's going to be upwards of 20 large boxes and 20 small boxes, so more than enough. Tier 3 does fit in this layout, got a locker there as well. 2 furnaces is going to be the max with this layout here. They're kind of not placed in the best spots, but I'm trying to do this quick so I don't make a long video here. So anyways, you got all that set up. The other bases I'm going to do without the deployables, just for simplicity. Whenever we look at upkeep, we're looking at 304 metal upkeep per day, which is, if you're on a vanilla server, that's half of a metal node. That's really not a big deal. You can actually build part of this base as well with some stone instead of metal. So I'll kind of go over that here momentarily, but we're going to work on setting up the next base here for the internal core of the compound. And each base, by the way that I am building them, with it being all metal, in terms of material costs for the building, you're looking at 1,873 wood. That is using the single locks. If you want to use code locks, subtract 300 wood from that and add 400 metal to the metal cost. So 1,873 wood, 2,290 metal for the walls, foundations, roofs, etc. And in terms of the garage doors and the front door, you're going to be looking at around 750 metal for those and 4 gears for the 2 garage doors. The gears are actually going to be the hardest part of getting this up quickly. Metal's not a big deal. The wood's not a big deal, but those gears will be a little difficult trying to track down. For this one, we're going to be using actually 48 total gears. All right, so we got the 2 bases down. You can use 4 bases for this part, but I prefer 2. It helps keep the compound tight. Whenever you go to 4, this is actually the internal core of the compound, so 4 of them is going to make the external bases that are needed to do a second wrap significantly more. So with this, we're able to do 2 internal bases. We're going to do the gate, the walls, and then we're going to do a secondary gate here. And that is going to be the internal core of the compound itself. From here, as you'll see coming up, we're going to build the second layer. And there have been times where we've actually done wipes with 4 wraps. This video is going to be just 2 wraps. But with the 4 wraps, we ended up with minimum 35, possibly 40 to 45 bases. And that could be quite a challenge to keep up with, especially whenever you're trying to find loot. Is it in this base, that base, or that base? And then that's why I like to try and keep it to 2 bases on the inside, and then it'll be somewhere between 6 and 8 bases on the outer layer. All right, so we got the second gate placed, and then we have all the walls wrapped around. The internal core is finished. So you can start here. You can end your wipe, or not end your wipe, but you can end your day and go about doing something else if you want to. You have 2 metal bases. You're looking at 44 satchels through door path on those 2, or 46 satchels if they were to go through the walls themselves to access TC. But for me, it's actually not that big of a deal to farm enough to get the requirements to make all 9 total bases. Again, the gears are probably the most difficult part. Starting out, if you're struggling with gears, what we usually do is we make everything the same, where it's all metal, and we put as many garage doors up as we can. And if we don't have the gears to finish it out, we'll usually just do sheet metal doors. That way, if someone raids 1 or 2 bases that just so happen to have the garage doors, they're going to assume every base has a garage door. And usually after 1 or 2 bases that they raid, they will almost every single time back off of this compound. It's just not worth it to them. In terms of raiding though, what we're looking at if they want to go the cheapest route is through the wall is going to be 3C4, 70 Explo, 8350 sulfur. So just over 8,000 sulfur. Door path, if they are prepared, is going to be the cheapest route, but it's still not cheap by any means. They're looking at 63 Explo for the metal door, the front door, 2C4 for 1 C4 per garage door, so 2C4 in total, and another 80 Explo in total for those 2 garage doors. And that's going to be just under 8,000 sulfur per base if they want to get in the cheapest route, 7,975 sulfur in total. In future videos, I'll actually go over more advanced bases using the same concept. There'll be 2x1s with a triangle on the back using some armor. Same 2x1 layout, just with a pancake on top of stone, and we use armored doors on that one. And I'll break down the math on those in future videos, but for this one, no honeycombs needed. There's no reason to pancake the top. The math is there. You're looking at 23 satchels to get in through the wall and 22 through door path. It's close to 8,000 each way sulfur if they take the cheapest route as well. So we have all 7 external bases set up, 2 on the internal, and we got our first gate down on the second wrap. And I do like to use 4 gates on the second wrap and any future wraps if you want to expand out further than this. 1 north, south, east, west type style of gates. This one I believe I do butcher it a little bit, putting 2 gates a little too close to one another, but it's really not a big deal. What you're trying to prevent is someone from taking out a gate, taking over a base next to that gate, and then putting up their own gate and basically locking you from getting in and out. And that's why I like to have multiple entry and exit points. And as we speed this up here to go through all of the costs on the building, so this compound in total, when it was all said and done, costed 118,857 wood. So just under 120,000 wood. So that's going to be 4 full inventories of harvesting wood before you get this going. And again, you can start small. Start with the internal compound. That's what we always do with just the 2 bases. You can use 4. And we just kind of build from there. So just under 120,000 wood, 20,610 metal. That's again not that big of a deal. 48 gears is going to be the biggest deal in my opinion. But that's all it took to build this. And the time, of course. But what I'm doing here is I like to place these shotgun traps right at the each individual gate. I'm only going to do it on the 1 gate on this video. But these prevent people from creeping up and door camping, and it just prevents them from just being a nuisance. So we just only have it on that 1 gate, but each gate would end up with these. Again, it is another gear cost. Multiple gears if you're looking at 12 total shotgun traps amongst the 6 gates. But as you can tell, there's a little bit of lag here, but they do work effectively. They generally shoot you right as you get up on them. So what I'm going to do now is build a little tower just to kind of show you how the layout of this looks. And keep in mind the boat cost of that 120,000 wood cost is going to be largely on the walls, the external walls themselves. The external walls were 84,000 wood and the gates were 18,000 wood. So as you can see, this is pretty much what the layout is. It's real tight. A lot of room to run around, place landmines if you want to. You can set up auto turrets. With this layout, it's really easy to get auto turrets to cover one another. I'm not a fan of auto turrets personally, just because as soon as you put them up, people think that you have stuff. And the goal here, and this is why we're using wood walls, is to make it look like we don't have much. But that gate could have been a little bit closer to make the shotgun traps tighter. When you get into the internal part here of the core, this is where we're going to show you how you could place down some furnaces, some refineries, and you still have a crap ton of space to work with. And when all is said and done, what we're looking at raid cost wise, if someone decides to raid every single base and take the time to raid every single base, they're going to be looking at a minimum sulfur cost of 71,775. That is if they raid all 9 bases as effectively as possible and does not account for trying to even get into the base through the external walls. I could just simplify this and say it's a 72 rocket raid, technically. Not the cheapest route, but that is technically a 72 rocket raid. But I hope you guys enjoy this. I put a lot of thought into the math on this, and I look forward to showing you future videos and explanations on things that make Raider's life as difficult as possible. Anyways, I'm the Lost Mario Kart. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good day. Bye.